Welcome everyone to the Science of Getting Rich 30-Day Challenge. Chapter 1. Hi Shayla, hi Tamara, hi Nancy, hi Irene, hi Frankie, Heather, Jen, Jessica, Catherine. So many of you are jumping on this morning. I'm so excited. Okay, so let me stream this to the group. Okay. Okay, while that is preparing. Hi, Pam. Okay, this is so good. This is so good. Thank you all. First of all, thank you all so much for being here with me. Oh, wait, I need to mute that. Okay, there. Let's see. Maybe I can get off of that. I started to hear myself, like the echo. Oh, I can see it. I wonder if I can mute this. I can. Awesome. Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Good. Okay, so many amazing things. So like I was saying, thank you all so much for being here with me this morning. If you are here live or watching the recording of this, thank you so much for this. Like I decided to do this because it was my give back. I love engaging the community. I love bringing together that group energy where we're all doing the same thing. And my number one thing on this planet is to awaken you to the divine magic that is within you, that is within this universe that you are, so that you can create the life that you came here to create in that free expression of who you truly are, without all the baggage that you've accumulated throughout lifetimes. So again, thank you so much for being here with me. I love this. It just gives me so much pleasure to be able to give back, because then when you start to see the changes in other people's lives, you know, when you see the posts and the people thanking you and like their children being affected by this and their spouses being affected by this, it really just is so amazing. And it also gives me so much joy because it's what I came here to do. And so after learning that and then being able to put these things together and then having the response that I have is just so fascinating and amazing, because then I get to teach what I learned to everyone else, which is what we're doing here. So before we get into it, let's get connected so we can be in a clear space. So everyone just close your eyes and tune into your heart space and take a deep breath in and let it all go. And just give yourself permission to really be here, be present, breathing in this beautiful energy that is here for you, and breathing out any criticism, your critical mind, your ego, that inner gatekeeper that's designed to keep anything out of your consciousness that you have not already learned. So by doing that, you can just say, I set my ego and my critical mind to the side and I tune into the truth of my heart. And then just take a deep breath and let it go. And I invite you to just suspend all doubt and disbelief. And you can just say, I suspend all doubt and disbelief and I open to the magic in the universe. I give myself permission to be shown the truth, the signs, and I follow my inner guidance. And I surround and fill this sacred space with the white light of divine love flowing through each and every one of us, throughout all of our power centers, from the crown to the third eye and the face and the throat, and down through the heart and the solar and the sacral and the root, and down your legs and your knees and your lower legs, and from the base of your spine and the bottoms of your feet all the way down past your earth star into the center of the earth, allowing yourself to just be grounded, be earth on the earth, in love and light, and allowing everything that's ready to go to just flow out of this channel. So do you give yourself permission to receive the financial abundance that is for you? And you can just say yes out loud. And we surrender all limitation, all old belief systems that we've learned, that we've adopted, that we've grown to regurgitate. And we connect to the truth of the divine. And if you agree, then just say yes. And I call forth all of the angelic beings, the highly evolved beings that have interest in humanity's ascension to be with us, to guide us, the power of divine that's flowing through us, to speak to us in a way that we know, through signs, through memes, through serendipities, synchronicities, through all of these beautiful sequence of events that are for us. And if you agree, then say yes. And I ask to be a clear channel for you, that you may receive the information that your heart has been asking for and that your heart knows the answer to. And have an opening, an epiphany, an awakening, an understanding that wealth is your birthright and that you are here to be an expression of that. And I thank you for giving me the time and the space to do this. So I say these things in the name of love. May we all rise together in harmony and love, in service to all. Amen. Okay, so let's get into it. So last night the assignment was reading chapter 1, which chapter 1 is The Right to Be Rich. And I'm so very glad that he started out this book writing about the right to be rich, because it really is your birthright to be rich. And how do we know that? Well, someone can be born in extreme poverty and overcome those belief systems and that reality and create wealth for themselves. And we have Oprah Winfrey, who is a leading, shining example of that. We have Tony Robbins, who is an example of that. All of these people who are using their natural gifts and talents to receive, they're giving of themselves and they're receiving. Look at all of the, the musicians that are really star musicians, like Jennifer Lopez, whoever it is that you love, who came from nothing and then expressed their gifts and talents, transformed their belief systems, and then were and are being abundantly supplied with wealth. So it's not where you're born. It's not being born into wealth that gets you wealthy. That isn't reality. It's not being born into poverty that keeps you in poverty. That isn't reality either. It's the ability of you to be able to override and surrender those old belief systems that you have learned about your worthiness and your deservingness to have wealth. We have been taught so many limiting belief systems around wealth, and the reason that we've been taught them is because we're looking to other people to teach us. So let's just say when you're born into your family. Where did you learn how to do money? Where in your reality did you learn how to do money? Who taught you money? Right? Like your guardians, the people that you were around, the people that you witnessed, they taught you how to do money. Now, whether they talked about it outwardly, whether they hid it from you, or whether they were always in a state of stress, or whether they had it abundantly, they taught you how to do money. And so when you're looking to them, because they're all that there is, from the age of 0 to 7, your consciousness is your subconscious mind is full in action. And it's so that you can learn how to survive on this planet, not thrive on this planet, survive on this planet. So we learn all of these conditioned belief systems that our parents learned from their parents and their parents and their parents and their parents, and then we adopt them on as our own, and then we go and regurgitate them because it's literally all we know. So now we're in this space where we're learning different, where we're like, oh, hey, wait a minute. That person was born into poverty and they got wealthy, and that person was born into poverty and they got wealthy. Now it goes to, are you going to allow yourself to become wealthy too? Because there is collective belief systems that we use to hold ourselves in a place of poverty. We think that poverty is a virtue. And after reading chapter 1, you know that that is not true, because love is denied expression because of poverty. So we're going to go through that too. But one thing I wanted to touch on before we did that is, if you read the preface of this book, he talks about how all is one. Like everything is, like we're all one, right? Like we are all one. And it's not necessarily that you're like, oh, I'm one with my sister and I'm one with my brother and I'm one with those people I don't like. That's not what it means. What it means is we all come from that same source energy. That same stream of life that's moving through us is the same stream of life that's moving through our fellow brother and sister, that's moving through the animals, that's moving through the plants. And that stream is the source. It is God. If you know Greg Braden, he's a geologist. He is a world-renowned scientist who bridges the gap between science and spirituality. He has so many different works that he does on the DNA, the DNA code, they call it the God code. The human body is the only body, the only physical body that has the ability to take energy and transform it, meaning that we are creators. We are the only species that has the God code. And it's an extra chromosome that we have that others don't have, where we can take thought and put it into language and speak it into existence. So you are a creator. You were born a creator. What you were born into, what you learned, what you were taught about money, none of it is true. What's true is that God is abundance, that source is abundance. So you're going to find that I like to use the word God because God, for me, I have already debunked that whole word, because I grew up, when I was younger, I grew up in a very strict religious environment. And I came to not like the word God. I came to not like religion. I came to not enjoy any of that. I completely turned the other way because of the confinement that I felt within it. I wasn't allowed to express my gifts. My sister and I were able to see orbs when we were younger. We were able to feel into other people's energy fields and know things about them that we could not have known. When I was really young, I could hear the thoughts of other people. And so growing up in a religious background, we were taught that that's not of God, that is the devil that is trying to take you over. So of course, we're little girls, we get scared and push it away. And so we come to believe that people who have gifts, that people that are psychic, that people that are, have extra sensories are bad, because that's what we're told. Also, that having money is bad, and you can't have money for healing people. Like, forget that. You can't have that. When in reality, that is so far from the truth, and it's been misconstrued and misinterpreted for so many years, because Jesus Christ himself was the healer and did receive bounty for doing so. So you have to reevaluate everything that you've ever learned and everything that you've ever been taught. And because I turned away from that energy of God, my life literally went into darkness. When you shut yourself off from all that is, from that source, because we get into a space where we can't trust it, because we're born into controversy and chaos, and especially people who have a sole purpose to be healers here, they come into the dark. They come into the dark to experience the severity of the darkness so that they can have those experiences that they overcome, so that they can help other people come out of it too. Now, once you come to that conscious realization of that, you no longer have to recreate the conscious or the karmic expression of wounding. You can heal it and transcend it, which is what I learned to do for myself. So when I say the word God, I mean all that is. I mean all roads lead to God. I mean every religion has truth. Every religion has spiritual basis, and at the core of it, it is love. And so that's what I mean when I say God. So if God doesn't work for you, then use the divine, use source, use whatever word you need to use. It's just a human word, and the vibration that we put on it is personalized. So know that if you have that density around the word God, if you have that density around religion, or you're still fighting it, you got to clean that up, because that's blocking you from being able to see everything in the space of neutrality, which is where you have to be in order to accumulate wealth. Because if you're fighting something, you're always going to be fighting everything. And when we're in a state of fighting, whether we're arguing with our spouse or whether we're angry at our dog, we're in a defensive state, right? Our DNA is literally coiled really, really tight, and the light force cannot get through. You cannot be on that vibration of wealth when you're always in the defense mode. So do not think that the little tiny things that you get pissed off about are not blocking you, because they are blocking you. You have to stop doing those things that you do and pivot and redirect your consciousness into another way, so that you can be more open and expansive and expressive and allow yourself to receive money. So when he comes in here and he says all of the ancient traditions, even, in Western world, it's only been the last 200 years that this has been coming to a known. But in the Hindu traditions, in the Chinese traditions, they all know that we're all one, that we come from that oneness, that source energy of expression. And when you really understand that, then you understand that you are of God, you are of source, right? You are of that energy. And when you realize that, it's a pivotal, monumental transformation for you. I remember when I first realized this, I was laying in my bed, I was listening to a spiritual teacher talk about, I think it was Derek Rydell, I can't remember who exactly it was, but he was talking about wealth and manifesting wealth, and how more people who are heart-centered, who have wealth, are going to be able to change the world the quickest. And I highly believe that. I mean, I know that to be true. This is one of the reasons why I only work closely with women who are heart-centered, who I know have a soul purpose to transform the world, because the more I can help them with their learned limiting belief systems around money, around their worthiness and deservingness, around their divine connection and their power, the quicker they go into wanting that and having that and experiencing that wealth that then they can divide to contribute to other places so that we can collectively grow the abundance factor in the entire universe, rather than it being so 3D fighting all the time, because that is literally living in misery. So it was funny because this morning, I was going through my receipts to put into my different taxes, and I opened up my tithing receipt, and it says, rouse the eternal flames of divine memory until they burn away your forgetfulness, and remember that you always have been and are even now one with the Lord. Paramahansa Yogananda. So this is, I have chills when I say that, right? This is so divinely timed. When you are in that divine inspiration, when you realize that you were born for a reason, and whether that reason was to be the best mother to raise the children who are going to change the world, or to be the world changer yourself, you were born for a very specific reason. Everything is in your birth chart. Everything that you came here to do is in your astrological birth chart. This is one of the reasons why I'm such a big proponent of this. The reason I'm a big proponent of this is because what I found when working very closely with women, I would have the layout of what I was going to take them through to heal their limited, wounded self so that they could then embrace their inner being and feel safe on this planet. It was always an exact match to whatever their soul purpose birth chart was read. So I started having Shannon Murray do she just did astrological birth charts. I was like, I need soul purpose charts. First it started with love charts, because I was really into teaching women how to manifest love, the love of their life. So I'm like, okay, I need love charts read. So she would read their love chart, come back to me. I'd help them with their shadow, get them in alignment with their light, and then they would flourish and they'd attract what they desire. So you have two potential realities. You have the highest potential, and then you have your shadow reality. And you're gonna either do what it takes to get in alignment with that highest potential, or you're just gonna live a mediocre life and live in your shadow reality. It's up to you. Like, we're here under free will. We can live either duality that we want to live. What I found is when the shadow realities were healed, the shadow wounding was healed, the past life wounding was healed, whatever you want to call it, and they were able to really become their inner being, it was easier for them to manifest because they're vibrating higher. They looked different. Their energy was going higher and higher, and they would feel different. They wouldn't be able to access the memories the same. It was like that they were receiving an energetic clearing. So knowing what your birth chart is gives you an indication and a window into your divine aspects and your shadow aspects on what to avoid. And you're going to be so surprised at how uncanny everything is. It's like, I can't believe that this is 100% accuracy. The time you were born, the place you were born, the month you were born, the people you were born to was all on purpose. Every single thing that you've experienced has been on purpose. And when you realize that, and you come to know that you were born into this reality to do something amazing because God sent you, because Source sent you, because the divine sent you, because you are a heart-centered woman, you're going to be just so blown away and amazed at this whole thing. You don't even have to have your birth chart read. You already know something inside of you. You were guided to this space to learn this for a reason. We think that it's the money that we want, and partially it is the money, because when we have the money, we have freedom of expression, and that may be how your journey starts out. That was how my journey started out. I was so sick and tired of living in poverty and not even having any money to buy the things that I wanted to buy, that I knew it wasn't like me, that I was like, I've got to get the money, because once I have the money and I have financial power, my life is going to change. What I didn't know is that going on a journey to become financially powerful was going to radically shift everything about me from the inside out, because I am heart-centered, and my entire life. And then the money was just going to become the byproduct, which is what it is. I am so in tune with what I came here to do, that I do what I do because I want to be that voice for people in the dark, like I was. Because the more that I'm that voice for those people in the dark, the more I am seen, the more I understand the chosenness of what I came here to do, the more expressively abundant I become. It becomes second nature, because you realize, you're like, I don't know why I blocked myself from receiving money for so long, because you're not feeling worthy and deserving of it. That's why. And when you understand that it is your right to be rich, that you are worthy and deserving of it, regardless of what anybody else told you. Remember, other people can't tell you what's for you. They can only tell you what's for them. If they're telling you you're not good enough, you're in trouble, bad girl, they're telling themselves that. They're not telling you that. You're just taking it on as your own and believing them and then allowing yourself to be stifled because of it. So you have to stop doing that. You have to get rid of all of that clutter. So when I realized the truth of this, as I'm laying on my bed, living in poverty, right? Like disgustingness, I'm laying there listening, and he says something. He says, think about the sun. The sun is in exact proximity to the earth. The sun shines just for you. The sun is to give you life. The oxygen in the universe is for you. It is to give you life. The blades of grass are for you. It is to give you enjoyment when you look at them. The beautiful flowers, they are for you. The entire universe is for you. The entire universe is for you. Trillions of cells in your body are for you. There is nothing but abundance in reality, in the universe. God's source is abundance. The only reason why you're lacking is because you have pinched yourself off from this knowing in the area of money, in the area of love, in the area of health, whatever it is that you're experiencing that restriction in. You have pinched yourself off. That is the reason that you're not experiencing the flow. And you can hear these words and you can feel these words and you will not comprehend them on such a deep, profound level until it becomes an awakening through experience through you. So, looking around at everything in this universe and how it is for you, we are all one. Everything is happening for you, and you're going to really come to know this as we go through, because it's going to be inundated in your consciousness. There's going to be an immersion. You're immersing yourself in this experience. This book is truth. This book transformed my life. When I realized that everything that I was taught about money, all the scarcity, all the penny pinching, all the floating of checks, all that there's not enough, all that I have to work a bullshit job that I hate just to make money because that's what I have to do, wasn't true. It's not true. What's true is that when you tune into your heart space and you express that and you do things like giving and then receiving and opening up and changing your belief systems and paying attention to the signs that are guiding you in the direction of what it is that you truly desire, you will come to see for yourself that you get to create your own story. You get to create your own belief systems. You get to create your entire own story. You no longer have to listen to what is playing in the reels that was programmed in your consciousness. Remember when you're a little girl and you're looking up and you're learning how to do money and you're seeing your mom and dad spend their money and you're learning about money. If money caused them to split, or if one of them was not a good person and used money, you're going to cast out money. You're not going to allow yourself to have money. If you were taught that wealthy people or rich people are bad and that money is the root of all evil, you're not going to allow yourself to have money because you are not an evil person. You are not a bad person. And you've associated money making those people that way. Here's what I want to tell you. Do you give yourself permission to surrender those old belief systems that you've been heard, that you've been taught? Do you give yourself permission to surrender the belief system that money is the root of all evil? Because the second you give yourself permission, it goes. You got to give yourself permission. You got to start giving yourself permission. We are told no so many times, we've forgotten. We have to give ourselves permission. We look to other people for permission. Is it okay that I have this amount of money? Are you still going to be my friend if I have this amount of money? Like, are you still going to are you going to feel bad if I have this amount of money? You cannot help anybody by keeping yourself poor. You can help people by becoming your best self and inflaming those pockets of scarcity within themselves that may show up as jealousy or envy because they need it. They need that shit inflamed so that they can change it, because they can't change it as long as everyone's staying right in the same level. You have to be the one to come to rise up. You have to be the one to say, I'm going to have this for myself. You know why? Because my family is more important than that. You know why? Because I deserve it. You know why? Because I'm a heart-centered person. And when I have money, I'm not going to be doing what all these fucked up people are doing. I'm going to be doing what all these other amazing people are doing with their money. I'm going to be helping this world. I'm going to be helping my life. I'm going to be helping my family. I'm going to help those who need me to help them. I'm going to have so much wealth that my children never have to worry about this, that they can just live their personal expression. Whatever your why is what you have to tap into. But we have to change the way that we've been doing money this entire time. Because every time you receive money and you're holding on to it and you're like, this is all I have, or if you spend your money before you even get it, if you're just living paycheck to paycheck and it's even gone, I call that phantom money. That's phantom money. That money never comes in. You never show appreciation for that money. You're showing depreciation for that money because it's already gone before it even hits your account. What you have to do is come back into a space of appreciating it, even if it is already gone before you get it. You have to appreciate that it even is there for you, that it even has come, that all the money that you've ever experienced in your life, you have to give appreciation for, because you know what? It's tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars from the beginning of your time. If you go and you equate everything that you've been given that had some monetary value, which is everything, it's in the millions. So you are already, in essence, a millionaire. You already are. You already have it. You're already experiencing it. You're already flowing with it. The more you allow yourself to pivot and come back to the truth that abundance is all there is, that God has abundance for you, that you are meant to be abundant. You have trillions of cells that are abundance. There's a light force within each and every one of those cells that's communicating with each other. There's a light force within your brain tissue that's communicating with your entire body. When you come back to the truth that abundance is all there is, that you are a heart-centered person, that you are doing good things with money, you'll allow yourself to have more of it, and it comes with appreciating it, not depreciating it. You must appreciate the money that is coming to you. So the next thing is, this is another thing I wanted to tell you. For all of you who are heart-centered, I want you to know that wealth is your birthright, and wealth is everybody's birthright regardless. This is why people who are not heart-centered still get money, because it's about your attraction. It's about what you believe about money. So we have to change the face of what money is. We have to come into our own power and allow ourselves to be powerful with money so that we can really change this world. Like, this is like the awakening. This is what we've been practicing. This is what we've been building up for our entire existence, is to this point right now in this great awakening that we are having this experience, is come out of that 3D third world, fighting, and come into that place of love. So speaking of the nature being abundant, I remember when I was living in extreme poverty, to the point where it was like we had top ramen and I was a master at making spaghetti noodles and pasta sauce. Literally, we had that probably 4 or 5 times a week. I was listening to Oprah Winfrey, and I had manifested money before that and spent it all. So I was really upset at myself for doing that, because I manifested so much money and then spent it all. And I had to work really hard to get it, because I had that belief system. You have to work really hard to get it. You have to be doing what you hate doing, otherwise you're not going to make money, right? You have to slave to make money. And that's what I was doing. So I remember I was tired of it. I went outside and I said, God, use me as your instrument for good. All of the pain, all of the suffering, all of the torment that I have ever experienced in my entire life, it has to be for something good. Please show me and use me for your instrument as good. And I looked up at the stars and I said, if you get me out of this poverty, I will share myself with the world. That's what I said. And after I said it, I was like, oh, fuck. Because there were still so many parts that I wanted to hide, right? Because there were so many things that I had been taught to be shameful of, the experiences that I had. And so I knew that I was going to be going on a journey at that point in time. But it was worth it. It was so worth it. So then, seeing into where I am now, you have to give something in order to receive something, right? Like, you have to give. Like, we come into life, we're creators, giving and receiving. It's the balance. There is this documentary called Jim and Andy. If you haven't watched it yet, it is so phenomenal. It's with Jim Carrey. So in that documentary, he explains exactly how he did the $10 million check. It started when he was in like 1st or 2nd grade. He wanted a bike that he couldn't afford. Like, his parents couldn't get him this bike. He really wanted this bike. I think he went to like a Catholic school, because he goes to his teacher, who tells him that if he prays to the Mother Mary, and he says, I'll, say the rosary if you give me a bike, then he will get it, right? Like, if he says, I give you this, you give me this, and I give you this. So he went and he did it, and he said to Mother Mary, I will say the rosary, or whatever it was, and you give me the bike. Well, it wasn't only a matter of time after, I think it was like a few days, when he woke up and the bike was in his living room. So then, fast forward, he did the same thing with the $10 million check. He wrote himself a $10 million check in his own checkbook, and he said, for acting services rendered, I will give of myself and I will act, because that's what he loved to do, and you give me $10 million for doing this. Well, that's what ended up happening. For me, I said, I will express my soul's purpose of helping other people in exchange for monetary abundance. And that's exactly what I have. And this is exactly what I want to share with other people too. So there are different elements to doing this, right? You have to be heart-centered in it. It has to be a true wanting, a true desiring from your heart that you are going to give something. And it doesn't even have to be big, because remember, he just gave a rosary for a bike. So it just has to be something that you're willing to do. It doesn't have to be something monumentous. And remember, the bigger your dreams and desires are, the more you're going to have to get into alignment to become that, the more of a journey you're going to have to go through to get there, which is good, because you are going to get there. And fortunately, being in this space, because I'm like the queen of rapid transformation, we do things fast. I'm no longer in that let's do things slow. Like there's so many fast ways to get where you want to be. I mean, in as little as 3 months. So know that you're in the right space for that. Know that you were born wealthy. You were born wealthy. You were born into a wealthy environment. You were born, it doesn't matter what your parents' reality was, you chose that specific dynamic on purpose. And it doesn't matter if you were born in poverty or not, you have the right to be rich. And also know that all the contrasts that you've lived, every single time you have a negative feeling with money, on the other side of that, you're adding to the desire to have more. And I'm going to tell you a little life hack. Your desires can outweigh your belief system. If your desire is strong enough, it doesn't matter what you believe, it will happen. Now you have to get your beliefs in alignment to sustain it and grow it, but it will happen. So just know that every single time that you've ever had some limiting thought about wealth, on the other side of it, on the other side of the stick, you're adding to that. So then all of that contrast that you live with wealth is a good thing, because now here you stand in a new place, in a new position to move in a new direction, okay? So remember that. All you have to do is become what you desire and it will happen. Another thing that says in here too is that the unfolding, right? It says the unfolding. So there are 3 motives which we live for. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. This is why it's important to be balanced in all 3 areas, not only one. You can't only have money, you'll be miserable. You can't only have your body, your health, you'll be miserable. And you can't only have connection to the soul, expression, spirituality, because it's just not the totality. So the soul comes through and expresses through our mind, body, and that's how we express in life. We want to be balanced in all areas. We want to have enough wealth to be able to live our lives and not think of it and not be in stress about it, and to do what we want. Because if you get an inspired idea to create a business, you want to be able to have the capital to create that business. And whatever business you're in, you can use the wealth that you're receiving from that business to go into the right business, which is another chapter, so we're not going to go into that today. So let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Unfold the soul and develop the talent. This is one of the reasons why it's really important for you to understand your birth promise and why you came to this earth. It really is important for you to have your astrological birth chart read. If you want to start dabbling with that, if you're new to this stuff and you don't really know about it, I would highly recommend looking into the truth of it. So numerologist.com, you can actually put in your name and your birth date, and it will read you your, it's like a video that reads you your numerology, and you're going to be so surprised at how on point and accurate that is, that you're then going to want to know your birth chart, because you weren't just thrown onto earth with no plan. Everything has an intention. Every single thing, a tree has an intention, right? Adds to the oxygen in the universe. Like everything has an intention. Before you get out of bed, you have an intention. There was an intention for your life, and it's a map, and it's according to the astrological coordinates of when you were born. And it really is amazing how accurate it is. I've worked with thousands of women, and every single one of them has their birth chart read that I am able to look at. It's 100% accurate. Okay, and then the next thing that I wanted to talk about is love is denied expression by poverty. So those people that think that living in poverty or having poverty is a good thing, it is not. When you are in a state of poverty consciousness, and that means any type of lack, you, not only are you tightly coiled and disease is starting to riddle in your body, whether you're aware of it or not, you also cannot give your children the love that they truly need. When you're in a state of stress, all your brain is saying is, I'm going to die, I need to get out of this, I need to find a solution. You're in fight or flight mode constantly, right? Think of children who are born into third world countries. Why do you think there's so much fighting there? Because they live in poverty, partially. Mostly, 99.999% of it is because they live in a space where there is not enough love. Love is that energy that opens up, that brings harmony to everything. When you have a mother's love, you are then properly suited to go and fulfill your divine destiny and live your life in happiness and abundance. Think about this. An infant in the hospital that is born and is not given any human contact from 0 to 6 months, it will die. Regardless of whether it has every other nutrient met, every other need met, if there is no human contact, it will die. An infant that is given love becomes a completely different child than an infant that is devoid of love. And when you're in a stressful state, when your parents were in a stressful state, they could not give you the love that you needed, which would cause you to go into that fight or flight and then continue to regurgitate. In a petri dish, that love hormone turns mutant cells into normal reading cells. You have to have that love hormone. So now think of this in terms of money. If you want your money to grow, you have to have the appreciation for it, the appreciation for yourself, so that you can expand, because that really is the energy that creates everything that you desire to have. And then the last point I wanted to make, it says, for you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. And you can only make the most of yourself by getting rich. You can only make the most of yourself by having more than enough to do everything that you want to do for yourself and for the other people in your life. And also so that you can be an example of what is good, to do good with money, what it means. We're switching this paradigm. We're flipping this paradigm. We having money and having all of our bullshit belief systems cleared up is going to be the biggest contribution to this planet that ever was before. Women, men, all of us being in our divine balance with our wealth is going to be the best thing that we could ever do for anybody. So it is your right to be rich. It is amazing for you to even have the desire to be rich. So surrender all those belief systems that tell you that it's not good. Okay, so now we're going to go into the challenge. So this is the challenge. So remembering that love is denied expression by poverty. And also remember, if you have children that are having like difficult time in life right now, that are rebelling or that are angry, you cannot be angry and punish them. You have to come back to that space of love in your heart and give them the love that they are really asking for, because that is what they are asking for, is love. You have to set yourself and your fears and your scarcity to the side and step into this place of magic and start pretending for a little while. Pretend that every need is met. Pretend that you're dancing in the house that you want to dance in. Pretend that you really were born to live an abundant life, because you were. We were given the pretending for a reason. Pretending and imagining is what took me from living in a 700 square foot shack to a mansion that's over 4,000 square feet. So what I'm telling you is pretending, getting into that pretending nature, speaking it, knowing that you were here. So today's challenge is going to be, you have to notice the abundance. But first, before you go into this, I'm going to give you a process that's going to help you to get into alignment with that, to dissolve and start to really filter out some of those belief systems. Because the belief systems that you've had about wealth are so very deeply ingrained that they're on autopilot, right? When you receive money, you automatically think something. It's a neuroassociation, right? When I say the name Jennifer, you think of somebody. When I say unicorn, you think of something, right? So when you say money, you think of something. And it's going to be a duality. There's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. There's going to be some good, there's going to be a lot bad. So we want to start to clear out all of the bad bullshit that we've been taught. And one of the ways to do this is by doing this writing. And the reason that you want to do a writing, and it's a quick writing, in blue ink, is because when you're writing something, you're taking it from being just out there and you're putting it on the paper. You're like putting it somewhere. So you're giving it a channel so that it'll channel onto the paper rather than in your real life experience. So the first thing to do, and you're also going to get an email with a summary of this too. So just if you're just in listening mode right now, that's okay. Number one, how does not having money add to your misery? So this is also going to help you change your belief systems, because we think not having money, we're doing good, but by not having money, we're actually not doing good. We're doing horrible, because we're creating scarcity for ourselves and other people around us. And then we're also being their evidence for that's how life is. But when you break out of those old consciousness and you come into the consciousness of all that is, and then they see you, you give them a chance at life. So just know that. So one is, how does not having money add to your misery? Right? You already know this. Just write it out so you can brain dump. Number two is, how does not having money help the world? Now, what we're doing is getting your brain to see that by you withholding money from yourself, it's actually causing you more misery in the world, more misery. And what happens when you do that on your brain level, because that's not what you truly want, that's not what your brain wants, it will let it go. It will let go of those belief systems a lot easier. You'll move through them a lot easier rather than them holding on, because the reason that your brain is programmed that way is because it thinks that that's how you survive on this planet. It thinks that that's how you do things. It believes that that's how you do things because that's what it's seen other people survive. Even if they're just barely surviving, they're still surviving. And remember, your brain is designed to keep you safe. So if it thinks that by being stressed out about money all the time is putting you in action to get more money, then that's all you're going to do for the rest of your life, and you're going to short your life by 20, 30 years and end up spending way more money. Like, it's the wrong way to do it, but your brain doesn't understand that. For so long, we've been living on autopilot. Now it's time to wake up to our soul and the truth of our inner being so that we can undo this earthly programming that we have in our brains. So know that you're going to be changing your brain patterns throughout this too, right? And there's different side effects that occur with that. So just honor yourself and honor your body. And then, so after you write that, how does not having money help the world? How does not having money add to your misery? And then at the bottom of the page, you're going to write, do you give yourself permission to let go of this? Yes. You will give yourself permission to let go of it. Then you're going to write out this. You can write this out, and then this is also going to be a post that you're going to make. So the next thing you're going to write out is, how does your happiness add to the world? How does your happiness add to the world? How does your happiness add to the world? When you're happy, how are you adding to the world? And the next question is, how does making the most of yourself add to the world? How does making the most of yourself add to the world? And the last one, how does having money help you add to the happiness of the world? How does having money help you add to the happiness of the world? When you write this out and you write it out with feeling, your brain is then going to take those patterns, those knowings, and start to source them in your reality. You're going to notice your thoughts are changing. You're going to notice that your reality is changing. You're going to notice that you're not thinking of things the same way you used to think about. You're going to notice your brain catches you when you start to go in a stressful state of being. You're going to notice that you feel your emotion again. You're feeling it, and then you're switching it. Please say 6 again. Okay, I'm not sure which one 6 was, but the last one is, how does you having money add to the happiness of the world? So that's your practice to do on your own, because you're going to see that doing that is going to help you shift your brain patterns, because that's what we also have to do too during this, because it's not enough to just hear me talking or reading a book. I mean, you've heard thousands of people talk, and you've read thousands of books. Lots of you have read, listened to thousands of hours of books. You got to put this stuff into action. You got to change the patterns in your brain. Okay. And then next, this is where the challenge comes in. So this is what's going to be entering you into win the Sacred Goddess box. Is over $500 value. So what you're going to do is you're going to find 5 places of abundance in your life now. 5 places now, because abundance is everywhere. And those 5 places where you're already experiencing abundance can be love. It can be, I'm experiencing abundance in love. It can be, I'm experiencing abundance in people smiling at me. It can be, I'm experiencing an abundance of water. Like, it doesn't matter, wherever you're at is where you're at. If you want it to be, I'm experiencing an abundance of oxygen to breathe. Like, we want your consciousness to start to be aware of the wealth that's all around you. And also, what I used to do when I didn't, at the same point in time when I didn't really have a lot of money, is I would take my dog on a walk. And as I was walking, I would notice all the blades of grass. I would notice all the trees. I would notice all the leaves on the trees. I would go to the beach and notice all the grains of sand. I would look up at the sky and see all the stars in the sky. So I started doing that with nature. I started doing with all of the abundance, because this is the beautiful thing about creation and energy. When you are focused on one area, you could have 10 areas of your life going to shit. And when you're focused on one area that's good, or one area or one space where you can actually feel openness and breathe, and focus on that only, because your point of focus and everything is happening now, those other 10 areas of your life will begin to dissipate and will begin to turn, because nature makes order out of chaos. It's humans that make chaos out of order. So when we let go and we're just focusing on these things, it'll start to soften, it'll start to soften, it'll start to soften. You can use that as your pivot too. So your challenge is to write out on your wall, your own wall, how does your happiness add to the world? Because we also want other people to see this too. Like, we want other people to like start to wake up to this too, whether they're part of this challenge or not, it doesn't matter. Like, what matters is that they are conscious that there is abundance, because the more of them that we can shift, the more we all shift together, the easier it is for us. It only takes one person to shift 1,000 people. So use your social media platforms to do good in the world. Use your social media platforms to be the voice for the abundance. Regardless of how many likes you get or who sees it, it doesn't matter if only one person sees it, you've made a change in that one person's life. So that would be the first one. Number 2 is, how does making the most of yourself add to the happiness of the world? And then underneath, you're gonna list the 5 places of abundance in your life that you're experiencing abundance, because there are 5, you can find them. And if you can't find them, ask your subconscious mind and you will find them. Because when you ask a question, you have to be answered. When you ask a question, the universe answers you. You know, like when you're talking and you like forget a word and you're like, what was the name of that city? I don't remember. And then it comes to you in some form or another. That's because when you ask, you receive. The process of creation, ask, believe, receive. That's it. What happens is people get stuck in the asking, they're not believing, and so then they can't get to step 3. So if you just let go and you ask, and then you go and you focus on the abundance, you're in a state of free flowing, and then you'll receive. You can bypass the believe part, but you've got to get into those spaces. You have to really begin to understand. I am a big proponent of Abraham Hicks. So if anybody knows me, Abraham Hicks is in my ear daily, because there's just so much truth. So the 5 places of abundance in your life, and then you're gonna hashtag Science of Getting Rich 30-day challenge, and then hashtag chapter 1. So this is how, the hashtags are how we're gonna be able to keep track, right? So I have my assistant who is looking at it and will be able to just do a search for the hashtag and see everybody who entered. And so then when we see everybody who's participating and everybody who starts and everybody who finishes, then we'll be able to have that pool. We'll be able to see you. So make sure you hashtag Science of Getting Rich 30-day challenge and hashtag chapter 1 for this challenge. So remember, there's already so much abundance in your life. And then I'll send an email when it's time to read chapter 2. So you have 2 days to do this challenge. You have today and tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, you're going to read chapter 2, and then we'll do the next class, which I'm going to try to keep it at 30 minutes. This one went a little bit over because I was on a rampage. So remember that you were born for a reason, and I'm so blessed that you're here with me at this time and space right now, because we get to do this together, like fast, right? Like being in this space of doing this stuff fast. It's like so awesome that we're doing it together, because when you do it together, it makes it happen quicker, makes things happen faster. Plus you feel like you're supported in community, because when you're learning the stuff and then you go out into the world and you're like doing it, it's like not everybody is on board with it, and some people aren't believing it. So it's like you're doing it by yourself. But when we're doing this all together and we know it, and we're talking to each other and we're posting and we're like, yeah, it's so much more fun and things happen faster because of our group efforts. So I love you all so much, and I'm so happy that we're all here doing this. This video will be uploaded in the portal as soon as we get it edited and ready. And also the actual guidelines, or not guidelines, but the what you're going to be doing in your challenge today. So wait, does anyone have any questions? Ryan, you are truly amazing. I love you so much. Aw, thank you, Ryan. I love you. Sheila Randini, you said this will be in our emails, the questions to answers, right? Yes, yes, yes. Paula said, why blue ink? Okay, so the reason that we want to write in blue ink is because your brain remembers blue more than black. When you write down write down wishes and desires and things like that, you want to make sure that you're writing it in blue, because it stands out more. It's like the picturing, remember, like you picture, like if you even close your eyes and think of something that you wrote in blue versus something that you wrote in black, when you write in black, it's just kind of like fades in, but when you write in blue, it like has energy. You're welcome. And then also what you can do even too, after you say, do you give myself permission to let go of this, right? Like how does not having money help the world? Those questions, you can burn those if you want to. Like if you feel compelled to safely burn them, then burn them so that you can dissolve that energy too. Let's see. Oh, Shauna said chapter 1 spelled out, or chapter 1. Chapter and the number 1. Thank you, Shauna, for asking that question. I think that's it. Answer that one. Shayla, you sent that at 11:43 my time. Okay, let's see. Shayla said, when I get centered, I feel my hands tingling. Yes, that's amazing. Let's see. Okay. Which ones shall we post again to our page? The ones that you should post again, the ones that you should post to your page are the question, how does your happiness add to the world? You could just say like, by me being happy, it adds to the world by, you know, whatever. And then the next one is, how does making the most of yourself add to the happiness of the world? You know, answer that however you want to answer it, however you feel inspired to answer it. What we want to do is get people to understand that their happiness does add to the world. And also that if they make the most of themselves, it adds to the world too. Plus you're showing them that you're like working on your own stuff. And then the most important part is the 5 places of abundance that are already in your life. Like the 5 places of abundance, because then it's going to also have people see where the abundance in their life is, right? Carissa said, do we answer the questions all in one post, or are these 3 individual posts? No, all in one post, but not the limiting one. The limiting one, you are not going to post that. That's only for you to clear, and then you're going to replace it with the positive, right? If you do not want to answer the questions on your post, that's fine. Just do the 5 places of abundance in your life. You know, however you want to like inspirationally do it. The intent is to spread this, you know, this positivity of you and your life and what you're doing to the others. It's to show them that you are, you know, going to learn wealth, that you are going to learn this. That's really what it's for. So that is the challenge, because I want you to look for 5 places of abundance in your life. That's the challenge, the 5 places of abundance. So that's the most important thing for you to be really focused on after you realize that you not having money doesn't help anybody. It actually causes a lot of illness. And it's a disease. Poverty is a disease. So the poverty consciousness that you've adopted is not good for you. Anything that causes you to do that, fear, like that's not life force, that's death. And so we want to let that go so that we can start to allow more money in our reality. And then if you are really focused on the 5 places of abundance in your life right now, the 5 places of abundance in your life right now, whether that's having a great relationship with your children, I have an abundance of love, I have an abundance of emotion, I have an abundance of grass in my yard, like whatever it is that you have an abundance of, there's a lot of it. I have an abundance of food, I have an abundance of good feeling energy, like whatever it is. You just want to look at the world and start to see abundance everywhere and know that it is for you. The oxygen is for you. The sun shining is for you. Even when it rains, it's for you. The plants are for you. Every single thing in this reality is for you, and you are the center of your universe. You are literally creating a universe of your own. You are a creator. You have the God force energy within your body. You're the only being that can have this energy that dictates where you go. You are a creator. You are a creator. So allowing yourself to really know that and really embody that and get into the flow of that will help you also to stop resisting. Like stop cutting yourself off from the life force that's trying to flow to you. It is your birthright. The right to be rich is your birthright. And there is nothing more noble than for you to get rich and make the most of yourself through whatever channels, because your job, your business is not the only source. There's lots of different sources. And when you allow yourself to receive from all of them, you take the pressure off just that one. But we're going to get into that a little bit later too, because that's another chapter. So I love you all, and I hope you all have a beautiful day, reveling in the beautiful abundance that is all for you. Everything is for you. Every single thing is for you. This is for you. life is for you. The signs that you get are for you. The inspirational messages that you get are specifically for you. It is not by accident. There's no such thing as coincidence, right? Coincidence means 2 points to coincide. That is deliberate. Everything is deliberate. So I love you all so much, and I hope that you have a most beautiful day, and we'll see each other again in 2 days. 2 days. You're welcome.